So what's the problem with the bulge? He obviously can't hide it, right? It took me one click to realize that Unicorn Hunters is not a new show on TLC about grandmothers looking for antiques. Ever since 30 million of us watched Lauren and Cameron fall in love through a wall on the first season of Love is Blind, there has been no shortage of trashy love-related shows for us to indulge in, judge harshly, and project our own feelings of pain and insecurity on. I'm still trying to figure out what this is.
There's interspecies relationships happening on my grounds.
Well, Peacock, being the new kid on the block in the streaming world, they threw their hat in the ring with a love show that has now introduced the term unicorn hunting into my vocabulary. It's called From Couple to Throuple, and the name kind of says it all, but if you're not familiar with the show, here's a little bit about what it's about.
For the next month, 4 curious couples will be given the unique opportunity to turn that fantasy into a reality. Every few days, they'll invite one of 14 open-minded singles to throuple up with them in the resort, with a bed big enough for 3. Y'all all right in there?
We have 4 inexperienced couples looking to explore the world of non-monogamy and a group of singles who are down to join them. Now, I knew right away I could never do this simply because of the sleeping arrangements. I'm a pretty small person and you want me to sleep between 2 big ass people, and with my luck, they both, not one, but 2, both of them have deviated septums and snore like freaking monsters. I can't deal with one person snoring, let alone 2. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I really want a dog, but I won't even get a dog because I'm scared I'm gonna get one that snores. And the type of person that I am, I'll be like, look, this one's broken and send it back. But I'm very self-aware of my commitment issues, and I don't put myself in situations where I can't commit to things, so that's why I won't get a dog. What I'm saying is I know I can be a picky little asshole, but like I'm upfront about it. Now, maybe you put this show on your I'll get around to it list and you just kind of haven't gotten around to it yet, or maybe you never heard of this show in your life and the thumbnail did its job and got you to click and you're just going to keep watching. Either way, I just spent the past 2 days watching this messy ass show so that you don't have to. And it's 10 hours of my life that I'm never going to get back. By the way, welcome to my channel, Being Camille as Fuck. I am Camille. And this video is actually something a little different than what I normally do. I normally just do reaction videos, but they keep getting taken down by the copyright police. So I figured maybe I'll try a different format and see if that works out a little bit better for me. So I am going to do my very best to break down this entire dumpster fire of a season for you. And if you get to the end and you enjoyed it, please consider doing any of the YouTube things to help my little channel out. It's down in the down there part. Now, right up front, I'll say I do enjoy most of the messy love shows out there, and this was no exception. It was messy, and I enjoyed it. But after I finished, I went on the internet to see what everybody else had to say, and the reaction was really kind of mixed. There are people out there that I am assuming that are kind of like me, that are not really familiar with the poly world and all this stuff, and we just kind of looked at it as another trashy reality show. But for the people that are actually part of this community, they're actually kind of offended and see this as a terrible representation, especially to people like me that don't really know any better. They see this as a horrible representation of their community. And that's what made me want to dig a little deeper so that I can try to understand. I believe the post that got me going said something about they should rename this show Unicorn Hunters. And since I had no idea what that meant, my little Pisces brain started working. I started looking shit up, and boom, now I'm making a video. Now, I'm sure that most of you probably are already very familiar with these terms, but if you live under a rock like me, let's just go over some basics. So polyamory isn't one thing. It's actually like an umbrella term that can be used for all the different types of multi-partner relationships. And as you can imagine, there are lots of different configurations that people can link up in. So just polyamory for all of them. It took me one click to realize that Unicorn Hunters is not a new show on TLC about grandmothers looking for antiques. In terms of polyamory, unicorn hunting is when an established couple, they're seeking a serious relationship with a romantic partner to have like a throuple with them, but they require that person to only have sex with them and love them and be with them both equally. They kind of set rules, hard and fast rules for themselves as a couple, and they expect that new partner to come in and just kind of conform to their rules. And if that partner can't really conform to those rules, they just go ahead and dump them and move on. And with it being two people working as a unit against another, it kind of creates a power imbalance, especially once you start involving feelings and sex and all that stuff. From what I have read, people within the community look at unicorn hunters as people who are mostly just looking to fulfill a fantasy under like the guise of polyamory, but typically they will always prioritize their needs as a couple over treating that third person as its new relationship with a new structure where everybody gets a say in how things work. Now, we'll talk more about this unicorn hunting thing as we get deeper into the show, but I just want to say, please keep in mind that I'm no expert in this subject by any means. I'm kind of learning as I go, as I'm making this video. If you are part of the community and you're watching this video and I get something wrong or I misunderstand something or I use a term incorrectly, please feel free to correct me in the comments. Just please be respectful about it, because I'm a sensitive Pisces and I need people to be nice. As of the moment that I'm recording this, I have no idea if this is going to be one long video or several videos, but I guess you'll know by the time I post it. Turns out this was a couple of long videos that I've had to chop into several short videos. The best way to view is to go to my channel, go to the Couple to Throuple playlist, start at part 1, and they should just play straight through. By the time that you're seeing this, I should have covered all the way up to episode 4. Thanks for understanding. But either way, this is probably going to be one of the longest videos I've ever made. So let's jump right into it with episode 1. Now, right away, we meet our 4 couples, and if you are one of those people that's watching this show vicariously through this video, see if you can guess which of these couples ends up being the hottest mess of all the messes, because you know, on every show like this, there has to be one couple that's the hottest mess of all the messes. The couple that I assumed was going to be like solid from my first impression, I was completely wrong. So if you haven't watched the show already, let me know just as you're watching these first couple of minutes, what couple do you think is going to end up being the hottest mess of all the messes?
My name is Dylan.
I'm Lauren.
Yeah, we've been married for 2 years, just had our anniversary. 1 year into our marriage, we had our first threesome experience and brought us that much closer together.
So we have Dylan and Lauren. They've been together for 7 years, married for 2, and they don't have any kids. They're the only married couple out of the cast, and my first impression of them is they should really consider painting themselves green and having a side hustle as Mr. and Mrs. Hulk, because these two are jacked. Now, of course, as a connoisseur of trashy love shows who really loves to like armchair analyze people, I was immediately looking for any signs of trouble with any of these couples. I don't need to be part of the poly community to know that sometimes if a relationship is struggling, a couple will look for like external things to fix it. And when it comes to like adding another person to your marriage, sometimes it's possible that like one partner really wants it and the other partner is kind of wants it, but they're more or less compromising to make their partner happy. But in the case of Dylan and Lauren, to be honest, they both seem like equally interested in this lifestyle. Next up, we have Brittany and Sean.
Woo! This is amazing.
Looking so good.
Sean and I have been together for going on 4 years.
First thing I noticed was, shit, she got a fat ass. And now we're here.
So Brittany and Sean have been together for 4 years, and outside of Brittany maybe tasting some cherry chapstick a couple of times, they haven't really like experienced adding another person to their relationship. So what made them want to do this?
We always get random people approach us like, hey, I think you guys are like hot. I would love to hang out with you. And you know, at first I was like, wait, what? Yes.
She said they're always getting approached, and to be honest, I see why. I'm going to say this. I consider myself a feminist, and I don't like the idea of objectifying women's bodies, but damn. Brittany has got one of the most like perfect bodies I have ever seen in my life. She's like a living statue that you just can't help but stare at. She's literally perfect.
Man, I keep having these uncontrollable boners.
And I get it. He's staring at that all day. I get it. If I had a man and she walked by and gave him an uncontrollable boner, I wouldn't even be upset. I get it. Moving on, we have our only queer couple, Ashmel and Rahman.
So we met maybe a couple months prior to COVID, and then we quarantined together, and we luckily survived that. And if there's anyone that I feel comfortable with, like taking risks, especially in a relationship, it's this guy, because we are so confident in our relationship.
Ashmel and Rahman, both very handsome men. They got together during COVID, so depending on when this was filmed, they had been together for about 2 or 3 years. Now, of all the couples, they seem to be the most experienced with like adding more people to their relationship. So I assumed that when it came to things like communication, jealousy, I figured they'd have that all worked out before the show, but you know what they say about assuming.
I would actually like somebody who can kind of just take control for both of us.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. I kind of do want someone who's figuring it out with us, you know?
So these two can't agree on anything, but it's in a kind of like cute, playfully indecisive kind of way for now. Finishing up the cast, we have Corey and Wilder.
It was in college. We were at a party and I was trying to make somebody else jealous.
We're not married or anything.
You're not married?
No.
Okay.
So these two met in college and they've been together for 9 years and they're 29 when they film this. So they've basically been together since they were kids. Now, based on the previews for this show and like the first couple of episodes, I really thought that it was going to be these two that were going to be the hottest mess of all the messes. And don't get me wrong, they do have their issues. But out of all the couples, they kind of end up being the most boring one, to be honest.
How you doing? I'm Scott Evans. I will be your host, your guide through this experience. Look at everybody looking all good.
And we get our host, Mr. Scott Evans. I don't really watch Access Hollywood or whatever he was on before this, but in a world where Nick and Vanessa Lachey are every freaking where, Scott is a breath of fresh air. We love Scott. We need more Scott.
This is a safe place for you to dive into that question head first.
Cheers to head first.
Okay, that was funny.
Shamira Howard is a love and relationship expert. She's a therapist.
How's it going?
Now, this show has done the thing that I think all of these little messy love shows need to do, which is add a therapist as part of the show. Like, yes, we love watching a good train wreck, but people can also learn a lot from watching other people fuck up. I think that having a therapist as part of like the commentary, at least, is a really good thing for the contestants and the people watching the show. With all of that being said, as this show goes on, you're going to see that these relationship sessions are like the most unserious thing ever.
We've definitely needed an expert for a very long time.
Foreshadowing.
The people we are inviting to be a part of this experience have experience in ethical non-monogamy.
So y'all heard that, right? I just want to point this out. Scott said that the singles that they're bringing to be part of this experience are experienced in non-monogamy. They're supposed to be like pros at this shit. Just put that on a sticky note and put it back there. We're going to go back and get it in just a minute.
Bring out the single.
Yes.
Hot damn, we're gonna have some trouble choosing.
So they bring out the singles and they're all very attractive, but I'm going to be honest, a lot of these people don't ever even get to speak on camera. So I'm only going to talk about them when they become relevant. But anyway, this starts their first mixer. They're going to do this every couple of days. It's kind of like the cocktail parties on The Bachelor. But anyway, everybody's getting their mingle on. And there is one single that I want to point out. In this next clip, he is the really beefy guy. His name is Chris. He's the one that has the long hair.
It is nice to kind of watch them try and throw themselves at us and see if it lands or not.
Chris doesn't ever really get to speak very much, but we do get to see a whole lot of him.
Chris is bold. It just hit me in the face when we saw him.
Jesus. Okay.
He looked like Thor and the hammer was right here.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how YouTube feels about penis bulges, but this video is marked not made for kids, so I'm leaving it in unblurred and in its entirety because nobody seems to have a problem with cleavage. We get under tit and side tit, so what's the problem with the bulge? He obviously can't hide it, right? Anyway, they treated Chris's bulge like Where's Waldo in the background of shots and stuff. I just felt like I needed to show you him. I mean, show you who he is.
Yeah. We want to connect with other people so they feel that love.
Yeah, a little bit of thrill.
That's our goal. Yeah.
Lauren and Dylan make a connection right away with JWoww. I mean, Becca. we're going to see a lot of her. And we also learned this kind of very important fact about Brittany and Sean's relationship.
We're not like the most affectionate. When people see us, they think that we're like friends sometimes.
They are a non-affectionate couple who people often mistake for friends. Initially, that was a little concerning because maybe like their relationships run its course, but like one of them isn't willing to let go, and maybe that's why they're there. But I'll admit, these two actually have a really interesting journey.
He tells me that he's from LA, so that did kind of make me worry a little bit. We're from Chicago. LA gays do have some type of reputation.
So I'm very curious about this LA gay reputation thing he's talking about. If anybody can explain the difference between LA gays and Chicago gays outside of the only thing I can think of, the wardrobe, because Chicago gets cold as shit, please let me know what this man is talking about in the comments. Like I said, I'm always trying to learn new things. I mean, there's some very superficial things I can think of, but like, I don't think it makes a difference.
Like, we just wanted to get to know you a little more, like find out what you're about. What do you like to do for fun?
I don't know why. I don't know why. But when he said that, I imagined Napoleon Dynamite's brother Kip. And anytime I look at Wilder, like I can't unsee it. Like every time I look at Wilder, all I see is Kip.
Napoleon, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with babes all day.
What do you like to do for fun?
Besides, we both know I'm training to become a cage fighter.
Anyway, Corey and Wilder bond with Denise, but initially they concerned me too.
So I'm definitely bisexual, kind of newly learned that I'm bisexual, which is very exciting.
So they've been together since they were 19, so I thought that this could possibly be a case of a troubled relationship where Corey's like, newly found bisexuality is like suddenly an answer to a problem. And I don't say that to like downplay her sexuality. I was just more in a mindset of like looking out for signs that one partner is more into wanting to explore this new lifestyle than the other. Corey, no offense, but she just kind of looks like the type of girl that'll do like anything to hang on to her man. And like, how do you do the mental gymnastics to make yourself okay with your man maybe lusting after another woman? You lust too. Like if you can't beat them, join them. So what made me think this? I tend to pay close attention to the way that people phrase things, and she described it as newly learned bisexuality versus saying something like, I've been curious, or like, I've always kind of had an attraction. And because she said like it was newly found, it just seemed a little concerning to me the way that she phrased it. It could mean nothing. I'm not saying that it does. It's just what stuck out to me. But also I put that together with like her body language when she says it. And I'll play it again for you.
So I'm definitely bisexual, kind of newly learned that I'm bisexual, which is very exciting.
She like keeps grabbing for Wilder, which is something she does all the time. And like her eyes keep like darting over and looking at his face. Like every other word, she's looking for validation from him or something. And like, I don't know, something just feels kind of uncomfortable about these two. Now at this mixer, because they're the one queer couple of the bunch, Ashmel and Ramon are like freaking kids in a candy store because they have so many more options than everybody else.
You know, but I am open to it. I definitely want to experience that.
I've never actually fully hooked up with a girl.
I want to see him navigate boobs.
And the only hope that any of the single men have of like even participating in the show is if Ramon and Ashmel choose them. And to be honest, even though Ramon says he's open to being with a woman, I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I think that he would like touch a boob and vomit.
We want to educate others like about this kind of lifestyle that's
I just saw the bulge walk by.
Starting to evolve into.
Do you see what I mean? They always find a way to like throw Chris's bulge in the background or like have him walk by. It can be very distracting. You probably didn't even hear what Dylan just said. Here, I'll play it again.
We want to educate others like about this kind of lifestyle that's not normalized yet.
Did you hear that, everybody? Dylan, who's never actually been in a poly relationship, now wants to educate the rest of us on how it all works. And this would be the first sign that I would not get along with Dylan, because that is quite a leap, sir. You're in this experience for all of 10 minutes, and in your head, you're already seeing yourself as an expert to teach others. This is the type of guy that goes around telling people all kinds of things that nobody ever asked him about, because in his brain, he's an expert and he thinks he's educating people. And I'm not saying that Dylan is that guy. We haven't seen enough from him yet. I'm just saying that this is the first red flag that he probably is. Now, if you remember, they were talking to Becca earlier. She's the one that looks like JWoww. Now they're talking to the festival girl. Her name is Mia, and this girl's pretty interesting.
Like, I can have a million friends, but I can only have one lover in society's eye. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
And you know what? I really feel her on that. I feel like we've been following a lot of stupid rules for a very long time when it comes to like dating and marriage. So my situation doesn't really have anything to do with like being poly, but I do believe that me and my ex are definitely victims to the mentality of doing what we thought we were supposed to do after we accidentally got pregnant. But in reality, we were very, very young, and we were two very different people who tried their best, but we basically took turns periodically driving each other crazy for 12 years. But when we finally threw in the towel and we were like, you know what, this just isn't going to work, and we stopped trying to force this whole marriage thing, we actually became like best friends, and we still maintain a really, really strong family unit. Looking back on our marriage, I think I would describe it as trying to force a square peg into a round hole, which we all know is impossible to do, but we kept at it because we felt like that's what we were supposed to do. But, you know, it's been years and years now. We've seen proof that we could have saved each other a bunch of time and bullshit if we didn't feel the pressure to be married. Something's going to go down, and I believe it's episode 4 or 5, that really reminded me how much like my generation and the generations before me produced a bunch of people full of unnecessarily repressed shit. I'm a mom, but my son moved out, and so I don't get the opportunity to like offer unsolicited advice to people when they're not asking for it. So I have you captive. I'm gonna just take a moment. If you don't see yourself settling down with one person or doing any of the other big things, having kids, yada, yada, you need to be open about it, and you shouldn't be made to feel bad for feeling that way. So many people will lie to their partners, and even scarier, they're going to lie to themselves about what they truly want, just because, you know, society says we're all supposed to want to find our one true love and settle down and start a family and live happily ever after. I say life is short, and you need to live your life the way you fucking see fit. When it comes to relationships, it's just about finding the person, or in the case of this show, the people who want the same things that you want. If you don't see yourself being in a monogamous relationship, don't lie about it. Don't pretend that that's what you want just because you want to hang on to somebody if that's not truly what you want, because it's guaranteed that your truth is going to eventually surface, and you're 100% going to hurt the person that you lied to. But you know what the other option is? Just be honest right out the gate. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people watching this video, unfortunately, have been cheated on. So here's a little example. Imagine if the person that cheated on you, imagine if they had been honest and upfront, and they said, you know what? I don't believe in monogamy. And right out the gate, you got to make the choice if you wanted to deal with them or not. Knowing how they are, you got to deal with them or not from the very beginning. I think that as a society, we would save each other a lot of heartache if we would just be honest and upfront with each other about what it is that we want. Anyway, this Mia chick, she seems kind of like really insightful. Let's see what else she has to say.
It's like my relationship with the universe. As within, so without.
No,
That's
exactly.
just energy exchange. You're gonna magnetize together, flow apart. It's not personal.
What? Look at Dylan's face.
People come in for a season or a reason, but sometimes they leave for that too.
Yeah.
Okay, Mia. All right. We're back on the same page with that one. And she's absolutely right. Not everybody is meant to be in your life forever. And sometimes trying to hang on to something that's over will cause way more damage than it's really worth. Some people are meant to be in your life for a season or a reason. And if you unfortunately find yourself with somebody that like goes where the wind blows, then when the wind blows away from you, reflect on the lessons that you learned from your time with them and let them go. And that ends this segment of unsolicited mom advice. You're welcome.
We're sad to see the singles go, but also I'm excited to talk.
So the cocktail party ends and the couples head out to check out their rooms, and they get to spend this one last night together just as a couple so they can talk about their decision.
Oh my God, they even have 3 sets of towels for us. Hey, what?
Oh my God, why are these beds so hard? My only guess is that like maybe they don't want to have to edit out the squeaking noises, maybe. Ew.
It's kind of like overwhelming because it just felt like there was a lot of like eyes on you, and like I was like, I don't know how to deal with all of this right now.
Now, do you see why I was concerned about these two? It's the first night and Corey's already talking about being jealous. Now, it could just be me. Could be me, you know, sometimes I'm a little out there, but jealousy doesn't seem like a good trait to have if you're wanting to add people to your relationship. I'm just saying. The next day, the couples have their first relationship session with Dr. Howard, and each of these sessions have a theme to them. This one is themed chemistry.
This exercise is all about knowing that even if you don't agree, it's okay because we're here to understand each other's differences.
She's asking the couple questions that, to be honest, sound like they came straight from a teen magazine.
First question, who had the best body? Who do you individually think would be the best kisser? Who did you open up to the most?
Riveting. Now, for the most part, the couple's answers matched, and when they didn't, it didn't really mean anything. Nothing of importance came of this exercise, to be honest, so we're just going to move on. Later that night, the couples are getting ready for their first matching ceremony where they get to choose their third, and once again, Corey is throwing out some red flags. Like I said earlier, there's probably going to be some really weird cuts because these were initially longer videos that I've had to cut into shorter videos. But if you go to the playlist, they should play straight through. So please go visit my channel. Also, if you made it this far, there had to be something that you liked. And if so, please consider subscribing or doing any of the other YouTube things. Thanks for your support. I really appreciate it. Bye.